Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I was looking at an article on BuzzFeed and it turned out to be red flags that guys wished they had not ignored in their significant other. And as I was reading, I felt personally attacked. I felt like I had so many of those things. So I'm here today to argue the other side of those red flags. The first one, it says, when she says that she feels like she's known me her whole life after 2 hours. I have found that very untrue every time, and it causes unhealthy expectations. A lot of women may say this, and I don't think they're actually, I think the majority are not saying, hey, actually, I feel like I've known you for my whole life. I feel like they're just trying to say, I feel very comfortable around you. I feel very at ease. I don't think they're saying, hey, I feel like I've known you my whole entire life, and it's just like this whole thing. It's something about how comfortable you are with this person who you don't know that well. The second one is a woman once introduced herself as, hi, I'm insert name, and everybody likes me. I knew immediately she was going to be a problem. I feel like I need to defend this woman also. Not that I've done that before, but what if she's just like a socially awkward human being, which I am. I'm socially awkward. I have social anxiety, and I feel I might come off weird or say weird things because I'm trying so hard to be normal, but it just comes out weird. Maybe she's just trying to make it funny, but of course there is still the chance that she's being a little bit full of herself. So I do kind of see that one, but I feel like there needs to be more time for her to uncover who she is and to really make that choice. Number 3 is if she names all of her plants after ex-boyfriends. And then somebody else added, and then lets them die a slow, horrible death. For this one, I feel kind of whatever about it. I think everybody heals in different ways, and maybe these ex-boyfriends caused this woman a lot of trauma. I feel bad for the plants. It's not like she's being a really terrible, horrible person, I don't think. I do understand that it might be a little bit strange to mention this to somebody that you're just getting to know and saying, oh hey, these plants, I've named them all after ex-boyfriends. That can be a little bit awkward. It can be a little awkward. But all in all, I don't think it's this really crazy thing. I think that should be something you kind of keep to yourself and to your inner circle. And also, though, I mean, it's fair if she mentions that to someone and that someone doesn't want to deal with it. Yeah, they should peace out and she should be happy. That's not her person. If she wants to be a little bit on the oddball side, she should be able to. Number 4 is when she says, I just know we're meant to have a child together. Sorry about all of the background noise. My dogs are eating their yak chews. I have never said, I know we're meant to have a child together. I don't think I've ever had that feeling. However, if you're super in love with someone, I can understand how somebody would say that. Number 5, this is the one that really got me. It's a hyper focus on Disney and Mickey Mouse. And then the explanation is, the weird part is Disney adults never actually seem to care that much about watching the movies or singing the songs. It always seems to be more about buying merchandise and visiting the parks. It's basically a shopping addiction in pretty costumes. I feel like I am a big fan of the movies, but some of the classics are very hardcore, very traumatizing, and they're not necessarily movies that I want to watch over and over again, even though I do love them. The obsession with visiting the parks, for me, is the atmosphere. It is the happiest place on earth. To me, it's a place where I feel like I can go and just be really happy, not think about anything serious, let go of anything that's stressing me out. That's why I love to go to Disneyland. And the buying all of the Disney stuff, which I'm obviously wearing right now, one of the things that I own, it makes me happy because number one, I think it's adorable, and number two, it connects me to that feeling that I get when I am at Disneyland, or just connecting to my childhood when I did watch those extremely traumatizing movies over and over again. And I say they're traumatizing only because sometimes the mom dies or something, or like the best friends can't be best friends anymore. Oof. And I know it's gonna sound really cuckoo, but for me, there's a very specific part in Fantasmic. If you have seen it, you know Fantasmic is amazing. It's like my favorite show. And there's a very specific segment within Fantasmic that has always really struck a chord with me and has gotten me through some really sketchy times. And I know that sounds silly, but it's very real for me. So it is part of the reason that I do like to go to Disneyland a lot. I feel like a lot of people have like all these really nice connections or memories, and just because you're not specifically aware of it doesn't mean it's just this ridiculous thing. Number 6, my ex-wife told me that if we ever had a daughter, she'd be jealous of the attention I gave her. That one is a little bit crazy. That one's a little intense. I don't understand that one. I've never felt that way. I mean, that's probably why she's your ex-wife, or one of the reasons why she's your ex-wife. That's a unique perspective. Number 7, big fake fish lips. When I see someone with lip fillers, I almost immediately know this is someone who I am unlikely to have anything in common with. I guess that's judgy, but seriously, why do you want to waste all that money looking like that? I can somehow understand this comment, but I don't agree with it. I don't think that there's anything about choosing to look a certain way or choosing to have certain features accentuated or whatever. I don't see how that makes you not a smart person or not a kind person. It's just something that you particularly like the aesthetics of. I don't see how that could correlate with anything else. I feel like if you go around thinking like that about people, then you would really miss out on someone who could be really great just because you think that they couldn't possibly be X, Y, and Z. Number 8 is for both men and women, using a selfie for your phone background or lock screen. I have actually done this before. I only had it for a short period of time because I did feel a bit awkward about it. But the reason why I had it was when I had gained a lot of weight and I chose a photograph of the body that I was aspiring to get back to. So that's the reason that I had it, because I wanted to remind myself constantly of where I wanted to get back to. I don't think it's always, oh, I love myself so much, I'm gonna use myself as my background. But I can see how that could be a little bit of a red flag. But I think, again, you've got to get to know people to really know what's going on. Number 9, when everything they talk about is negativity, nothing positive happens in their life. Okay, I can see how that would be a red flag. That would be a red flag for me also. Once I started feeling better and I wasn't as depressed anymore, I did find myself being in a bad mood a lot of the time, and one day I just decided I'm going to be in a good mood. I'm going to be in a good mood. I wasted all of these years. All of these years were taken away from me by depression, and now I'm deciding I'm going to be happy every day within, normal limits, but I'm going to be happy. I'm going to make the best out of every day, and I wouldn't want to be around somebody who's constantly bringing me down. So I do get that one. Number 10, I don't vote because I'm just not into politics. I think when I was younger, maybe I felt a little bit like this. I have always voted because my family has insisted on it, but I did kind of feel a little bit like this. I felt, why vote? It's not going to really make a difference, blah, blah, blah. But I do feel that if you don't vote, then you can't necessarily complain about the things that happen afterward. I mean, you can, but you didn't even try. So, I don't know. Okay, number 11, she says she's a people pleaser, then blames other people for putting herself in a people pleaser position. She just does it to keep her reputation high and not for people's well-being or anything. It's a form of manipulation. I have been guilty of being a people pleaser in my life. If I really care about someone, I am a people pleaser. And I think the whole thing around being a people pleaser is that you're not necessarily doing something that you want to do. You're doing this for someone else. You're doing something someone else wants you to do, even though you don't necessarily want to do it or agree with it. So I don't exactly know what this person is talking about with like the manipulation or whatever, but I do know that there are times that I don't necessarily want to do, or I haven't necessarily wanted to do what I have committed to, and I will complain about it to my significant other. I think that's part of the thing, but I personally have never done it in order to keep a reputation or anything like that. I just know that sometimes you do things or you commit to things that you don't want to do, but you're trying to please this person, so you're gonna do it, but not without complaining about it first. Number 12, living for male validation and putting other women down. When I was younger, I was 100% this type of person. I think it has to do with the amount of self-esteem that you have. I had none. Now that I'm older and secure and I have more self-esteem, as women, I feel like we have to lift each other up and not necessarily go around saying mean things about someone because they're your competition or whatever. And if somebody's putting you in that position to feel like you are competing with someone else for their attention or their love, I feel like that's a sign to just cut them loose. If you want to play these games and try to put two women against each other, you can go play by yourself or you can choose the other person. I'm good with that. Number 13 is when you find the extra large wedding portrait of her and her ex hidden behind the sofa that you've been making out on. Okay, this one's a little bit interesting. I mean, she could still have feelings for her ex-husband, but she could also not know what to do with it. I mean, it is hidden behind the sofa. So I don't know if she's like in the process of getting rid of it, or maybe he's gonna come get it, or I don't know. I have always gotten rid of every single photograph of me and previous partners. I don't think that I have a single photograph of like me and previous partners. And sometimes I do feel like, oh, I wish I kind of had maybe one so that I could show my kids at some point, like, oh, I dated this person or I dated this person. And I think sometimes it would be fun to see exactly who my mom dated in the past before she married my dad. I'm just kind of curious to see what they look like. Number 14, making demands before ever speaking to you. Like, don't message if you're under 6 feet tall, make 6 figures, or have a pee-pee under 6 inches. I feel like it's perfectly valid for a woman to have a list of things that she wants, just like men can have a list of things that they want. If you don't meet the description, just move it along. I mean, you're not going to be interested in this person either. I think you're just angry. Okay, number 15 is I was dating a girl when I was in college that had no job and was not going to school and had no plans of doing either. At 18, she was hell-bent on having kids. I was making $6.25 an hour part-time and going to school. We were only dating for 2 months, and she kept pressuring me to get a place with her. I mean, she was really young. She was 18, and I feel that some people, including myself, when we're really young, we have this idea of, oh, I just want to be a housewife, and I want to be a mom, and I want it as soon as possible. And so you have somebody that you love, and you're just like, okay, we're gonna do it, and we're gonna make it happen. My parents met each other when they were 18 and 19, and they had lived one house down from each other their whole lives. And that's the kind of love story that I wanted for myself. So whenever I started dating for marriage. I always dated people that I saw potential in, or that I saw it lasting a long time with for whatever reason. I think that this person is probably in the same boat. She just wants to get her life started. That's how I felt at the time. But I feel like a lot has changed, and I feel like when you grow, a lot of what you want changes as well. And you will both be very thankful that it didn't exactly happen how she envisioned it or whatever. And how they say God's timing is always perfect. But I can see how that would be very stressful for a young person that is only making was only making a very little amount of money and was going to school and was probably just really stressed out about everything already anyway. At 16, trauma dumping after not knowing you for very long. It's often not a conscious decision, but I found it to be a strong indicator for someone being self-absorbed, and said trauma being both poorly managed and unresolved. As somebody that has trauma, I think I can see both sides. I can see how, as someone who didn't go through trauma, or maybe somebody who has worked on their trauma and is on the other side of it or what have you, could feel like this is a little bit stressful to want to deal with. But I can also understand how perhaps somebody just feels very close to you and wants to share their deepest, darkest secrets with you. So I don't know if it's always necessarily going to be a poorly managed and unresolved situation. Number 17, owning a small, yappy white dog. I don't understand this one. I know my husband used to think Chihuahuas were annoying and just the worst, and by the dog distribution system, I got one. He is yappy, but he's also very kind, very cuddly, just very, very sweet, and we both love him very, very much. So I think you need to get to know this dog a little bit better. I think you'll fall in love with it. Number 18, moms deserve unconditional love. No, moms are humans, and humans can do shitty things to one another. Just because you birth someone doesn't mean you're absolved from any wrongdoings. I would agree with this one. I'm not a mother of humans, so I don't know how difficult it actually is, but I do see family members that have children and how difficult that is. So I see to an extent that they need a little bit more help, more attention, more love, more recognition. Unconditionally, of course not. Nobody deserves unconditional love, I don't think. There are always things that you can do where it's going to be, that's enough for me, and I'm out of here. Number 19, there's always drama following them, but they are always the victim. I can see this one. I think that if you want to steer clear of drama, you'll cut certain people out of your life, or, well, basically that's it. You're just gonna cut the people out of your life if you want a super peaceful life. Number 20, women who say they don't like women because they're catty bitches are usually the ones who are catty. I have witnessed a little bit of this in my own life. I do think there's a little bit of everything everywhere. There's a little bit of good people, there's a little bit of bad people everywhere. While some people can be very catty, there are also very kind women out there. So I don't think we can generalize. 21, a less obvious one to a lot of people due to how we're socialized these days is if she relies on you for her happiness. I don't mean if she goes through a rough patch and needs to rely on you more than usual. I mean like she behaves like if you loved her enough, it would cure her mental issues. I can see both sides on this one, but I kind of, for a lot of people, I blame the You Complete Me type of movies for this. I think you do need to go to therapy, and you need to complete yourself and be happy by yourself and do your own thing. Number 22, look at their friends. Bird of a feather so very often flock together. I made that mistake before, and if all of her friends are selfish people who think men are beneath them, she does too. But is hiding it. On the reverse, if her friends love and support her, are mature and caring of others, and any other qualities you want for your mate, she could be a beautiful part of your life. So I think Just like with everything else, there are exceptions to the rule, but I do see what you're talking about, because if I see a group of guys and they're all generally cheaters, I assume this guy's gonna have the same type of ideas about what's acceptable and what's not acceptable, and I don't think I would move much further with that. Number 23, this might just be a thing for us older dudes. Anything along the lines of, I need to come and take care of you, you should have called me to come do laundry, cooking, etc., or anything similar. They're either looking for a place to stay or know they will be soon. That one I'm not too sure about. I don't necessarily have any thoughts on that one. Number 24, a woman who is disgusted by a partner having any sort of emotions and expectations and expecting said partner to be stoic 24/7, no matter how broken down they become. Relationships are a two-way street, and if she can't be supportive in her partner's darkest times, then she can hit the road. That one I completely agree with. Everybody has emotions, everybody has their good times and their bad times, and you just need to be there for each other. Number 25, mean girls, and to the other end, I am an empath girls. This is another one I have a personal problem with, because I feel like I am an empath and I feel everything very, very deeply. So I don't see a problem with that. I am in therapy and I work very hard to be emotionally okay most of the time. So I don't know. I think people can be empaths. What's the problem? Number 26, no recall. I mean 0 recall. I don't expect you to remember every detail, but one girl I dated, I had to keep reminding her what my job was. I'll be honest with you, I don't know what my husband does. My doctor asked me what my husband did at one point, and I said something in aerospace, and she wanted more details, and I'm just like, I'll be honest with you, I don't know. Number 27, and finally, when she believes in astrology. I believe in astrology. I think it's a fun thing to look at, and sometimes they are correct. The personality traits that I have sometimes do match up with the personality traits they say, oh, this is very common in a Scorpio or whatever you are. And I'm just like, yeah, that's very similar to my personality. And while I do just really enjoy reading my horoscope from time to time, or seeing what my horoscope might be for the year, or I might go to a psychic when I'm having a particularly difficult time or just for fun, I don't see an issue with it. I think we're just all looking for a little bit of good news, a little bit of positivity. Like, I have seen people that are like, oh, I'm not going to do this on this very specific day because my horoscope said no. And if that's not your vibe, just like all of these other red flags, if they're not your vibe, I completely understand and avoid these people if that's what you want to do. That's the whole thing. Do what you want to do what makes you happy, be with who you want to be with and what makes you happy. But my whole point of this entire situation is that there are always going to be exceptions to the rule, and sometimes you might want to dig a little deeper or get to know someone a little bit better before making all of these super snap judgments like, oh my god, she did this or he did this, and automatic no. So that's what I'm just trying to say. Give people a chance. Like, I might be a little bit cuckoo caca, but on the other end, I feel like I'm a really great partner. I'm really loving, and I'm really devoted, and I'm very loyal, and I'm all of these things. So on one hand, there might be something that might be not so great, but on the other hand, There is something that is really great, and I think most people are like that. People aren't going to be perfect. There are going to be some things, and you've got to find those things that you're willing to put up with. And if it's just a no, I mean, I have my things that I'm just like, that's a complete no. I'm walking away from this situation, this friendship, whatever. But many chances are given. And that's just what I'm saying. Those are my thoughts today. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. See you next time.